Welcome to the CIFO Wealth Engine program. We've all heard the old adage, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash is king. It's a catchy saying, and it is saying that cash is your most critical asset. But you control your cash, so it's more like an invaluable servant than a king. In this presentation, I will explain the key elements for controlling your cash reserves, the real cost of operating with insufficient cash reserves, and some actions for taking control of your cash reserves. So, we have established that you need to be in control of your cash reserves. If you do not have sufficient cash reserves, you will find it very difficult to achieve wealth-creating business performance. In this case, you would need to ask, is the problem a management issue, or is your business model at fault? If it is the model, you need to fix it. And if your business model can't be fixed, you may need to plan an exit with the least amount of financial damage. If it is the management, you need to fix that. But good management relies on good structures, good systems, and good processes. It also relies on reliable information in the form of quality reporting and analytics. If management personnel are committed, you should fix the structures and the systems before you focus on the people. The key ratio for understanding whether your cash reserves are sufficient is the cash ratio. This is the level of cash in the business as a proportion of current liabilities. The appropriate level for any business will vary according to the risk profiles of its current assets and the consistency or reliability of its operating cash flows. For example, a major bad debt could see cash reserves fall significantly and see the cash ratio fall below safety levels. Or the potential for a major stock write-off due to stock redundancy or damage needs to be guarded against. And businesses with a high degree of seasonality can experience periods of negative operating cash flows. Alternatively, if the cash ratio is too high, it will start to make the achievement of targeted return on equity too difficult to achieve. Return on equity is a key target of the CIFO Wealth Engine program, so we monitor this ratio very closely. When we talk about cash flow forecasting, we need to differentiate between macro and micro cash flow forecasting. Macro cash flow forecasting refers to the medium to longer term cash flow forecasts. A good three-way forecasting process will provide a reliable guide to the monthly movements in cash reserves over the forecast period, usually 12 months. Micro cash management refers to the near-term cash flow forecasting. This is a very time-consuming task and involves forecasting cash inflows and outflows on a weekly or even daily basis. This is done purely to resolve questions like, can we pay our suppliers to ensure we continue to get supply of necessary goods? Or will we have sufficient funds to meet our payroll commitments? If you are undertaking micro cash flow forecasting, you need to increase your cash reserves because this is a very costly process. So let's understand why micromanaging cash is so expensive. Firstly, it creates significant additional administrative costs. This comes from collecting data, updating models, and juggling the collection and payment dates to ensure funds are available and when. In some circumstances, there can be additional time taken liaising with suppliers to keep supply channels open. Now, when suppliers have a sense of insecurity in relation to customer solvency, this can create additional costs as well. There will be limited to no ability to negotiate better supply arrangements, and at times when there are delays with supply chains, you will not be prioritised for supply. It could be even more costly if you are unable to order in economic order quantities. And doing this for a prolonged period can generate a defensive mindset across the entire business. The cost of this is that the business is not generating the systems, processes and other improvement ideas that come from a more entrepreneurial mindset. So for a business that has low cash reserves, the most urgent task ahead is to get those reserves to a level that supports a comfortable cash ratio position. If the business has access to any form of working capital finance, it should access this with some urgency. Whilst finance will have borrowing costs, these could be totally offset by the cost savings related to operating with insufficient cash reserves, as identified in the previous slide. Once the cash reserves are at a satisfactory level, it is time for the business to focus on managing the longer term cash flows of the business and focusing on growing the value of the business. Three-way forecasting is the necessary method of managing longer term cash flows, and 3 to 5 year strategic planning activities, such as those undertaken in the CIFO Wealth Engine program, are used to grow business value. Thank you for watching this presentation. My name is Colin Wright, and I've worked with a range of businesses and financial advisors to implement the Wealth Engine program and generate transformational change in client businesses.